here in our final dashboard here for series this far, before we do a little recap, is we have the global oil production based data. Okay, so this here talks about the key countries affected in terms of oil production volume. So what we can sort of see here is I've got the variables that I've used from first video again. So in 24, we've got the production volume here, and we've got the country's production revenue in USD. So sort of based on this volume here times the price of the average, USD for that particular year, we've been able to come up with an average or estimated average of what the production revenue was for crude oil production in this particular calendar year. So based on the available data, so we can sort of see here that out of these particular countries here, US, Russia, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Iran, and UAE, made up 3.36 trillion in revenue in 2024. The global oil production revenue was 6.2 trillion. And then that's the global total production volume there of 82.02K versus the 44.5 here, okay, in these particular countries. Now, these are the countries that, are in this particular war, sort of apart from Russia. Russia's sort of just hovering at the moment. So that, yeah, this is a pretty sort of good model just to have a bit of a look at. So if I want to go here, this is the oil production volume. So that makes up this figure here. So if I come out of that 3.36 trillion, I just click on the US, okay, we can see there what they produced in terms of the production volume in 24. And of that, they made roughly $1 trillion there in revenue, annual revenue for oil based on their crude oil production. To assume that they sold all that crude oil, and there's assuming they sold all the crude oil and there was no sort of loss of production and all that sort of thing. This is not accounting for any of those factors. This is just a rough sort of estimate of the amount generated for people that are unsure. Okay, so next we're going to go to Russia. Okay, we're going to have a bit of a look. So 0.75 billion there. So maybe that's 750 billion, I would say. 747.13 billion up here. That was their production volume, and they made up 22.23% of the market for the global crude, they made up 22.23% of the market of these 6 countries here. Okay, so this is the comparison of these six countries here in the pie graph. And yeah, just the global totals are just there when we look outside, just to give us a rough idea of how much these guys contribute to our global oil production volume. So out of the countries affected by the war, or the interesting countries that are affected by the war, the US here has the largest slice of the pie, followed by Russia. Saudi Arabia next. Okay, so 700 billion there at Saudi Arabia. Okay, so that's quite interesting there. And then we look at Iraq and Iran, followed by the UAE. All right, so that kind of gives you a bit of a breakdown there as to what what it looked like comparatively 2 years ago. This is a calendar year again, not a financial year. What the comparison is in terms of oil production volume across these countries that are affected by this Iran war. Okay, what we're going to see is this figure go up due to shortages with global CPI percent. Average oil price has already gone up, so that's over $100 now. And then we have to monitor the USD average as well. and the price of gold. Gold will be a smart hedge for a lot of people as there's a lot of uncertainty in financial markets due to inflation rising as a result of the war. So that's that one there for global crude oil production. If you like this video, don't forget to give the video a bit of a thumbs up and a subscribe, and I'll look forward to catching you in the next video. Cheers, guys.